It's one of the most successful books ever written, a global phenomenon that turned into a blockbuster movie franchise. But what if its billion-dollar story was actually stolen? Today, we're diving deep into the shocking fraud allegations against Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, a case that really makes you question where this literary juggernaut came from. To really get the scale of this, let's rewind to 2003. On its very first day, the Da Vinci Code sold 6,000 copies. It didn't just climb the bestseller lists, it absolutely exploded, becoming this huge cultural touchstone for millions of people all over the world. And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? It's the question that kicked off a massive legal battle and a literary mystery that honestly sounds like it could be a thriller itself. Was Dan Brown's masterpiece built on somebody else's work? To figure that out, we have to start with the accusation itself. And it comes from an author who claims his book was the original blueprint for the whole thing. So let me introduce you to Jack Dunn. He's an author from Massachusetts. And get this, 6 years before the Da Vinci Code ever hit the shelves, Dunn published his own historical thriller, The Vatican Boys. He claims the similarities between his 1997 novel and Brown's 2003 blockbuster are they're not a coincidence. He says it's evidence of a massive literary heist. Okay, so let's get into the specifics, because this is where the case really starts to get interesting. Dunn and his legal team put together this really long list of all the ways they claim these two books are alike. First up, let's look at the female protagonists. The claim is that both characters are savvy, upper-class French women in their early 30s, and both of them have these deep connections to a secret Christian brotherhood. I mean, you gotta wonder, right? Are these just common themes you find in this genre, or is there something more going on here? And the supposed parallels don't stop with the characters, not by a long shot. The lawsuit points to a whole bunch of plot points that are claimed to be basically identical. This frantic race for a holy relic connected to the blood of Jesus, a villainous assassin from Opus Dei who tortures himself, and even key scenes that take place in the exact same spots in London, like the Opus Dei house in Fleet Street. So with what felt like a mountain of evidence, Dunn did what you'd expect. He took Dan Brown and his publisher to court. And this kicked off a total David versus Goliath legal battle. But in court, well, the case just fell apart, and surprisingly fast. The whole legal fight was incredibly quick, and for Dunn, pretty brutal. He filed his lawsuit in August 2006. By December, Brown's high-powered legal team was already moving to get the case dismissed. After a court hearing that lasted just a few minutes, the judge did exactly that. Threw the whole case out before it could even get to a jury. And the court's final word on it all? It was crystal clear and absolutely crushing for Dunn's case. Judge Michael Ponser declared, and I'm quoting here, that there are no substantial similarities between the books. And for all intents and purposes, that was the end of the story. Or was it? Because years after that courtroom defeat, the case was brought back to life. But this time, it wasn't based on general plot points. No, this was a fascinating and super specific legal theory focused on a totally different kind of evidence. So, to get this new angle, we need to understand a really key concept in copyright law, the difference between an idea and its expression. You see, you can't copyright the idea of a thriller about the Catholic Church. That's just too general. But what you can protect is the specific, unique expression of that idea, all the original details and invented facts you use to make your story one of a kind. And this is where the new argument gets laser-focused. The claim is that the Vatican Boys was built on 3 core fictional facts, details that were completely made up for that story. First, a made-up chief secretary to the Pope who secretly runs the Vatican Bank. Second, a fictional billion-dollar bribe from Opus Dei to save that very bank. And third, the invented consequence, the founder of Opus Dei gets fast-tracked to sainthood. The argument is that these aren't historical facts or genre tropes. They are a unique, protected creation that showed up identically in the Da Vinci Code. So, the crucial takeaway here is how the argument shifted from these broad similarities to these incredibly specific, invented plot points. And now, with all the evidence laid out, it's time for you to weigh in. All right, so let's recap the case for plagiarism one last time. You've got dozens of alleged similarities in characters and plot. You've got the use of the exact same locations in the same order. And at the very core of it all, you have those 3 invented fictional facts that act as the foundation for both stories. The final argument is that the statistical odds of all this just being a coincidence are, well, millions to 1. So we're going to leave you with the ultimate question. Was this just a case of two different authors drinking from the same well of history and religious themes, which led to a wild coincidence? Or, as Jack Dunn claims, is this one of the biggest literary thefts in modern history? It's up to you. You be the jury.